I'm going to do one more really quickly. All right. Now, I'm not Australian. I'm not Australian. I'm going to do one more really quickly. Um, and this is one of my elementary school days. This is about when I was in first grade. This is the only time that I cried at school, and we loved to play dodgeball during PE, physical education, and we had terrible balls. And one day, the PE teacher called all the classes out, all the grades out, and she put out all these brand new dodgeballs. And these were the kind back in the day. This is not the foam kind that we have now. This is essentially a kickball that you would whack somebody with. But we had brand new dodgeballs, 2 for every class. And this school was 1st through 5th grade. And so she called us all out there. We all sat down. And I was in the 1st grade. And she said, for the 1st grade, there are yellow balls, and they have a number 1 on them. And for the 2nd grade, there are 2 balls. They are blue, and they have a number 2 on them. And for the 3rd grade, there are new dodgeballs, and they have a number 3 on them, and they are red. And for the 4th grade, there are new dodgeballs, 2 of them, and they have a number 4 on them, and they are purple. And for the 5th grade, there are 2 new dodgeballs, and they have a 5 written on the side, and they are green. So moving forward, when the class leader for PE that week goes to get the dodgeballs, if you're in 1st grade, they're yellow and number 1. If you're in 2nd grade, they are blue and have a number 2. And if you are in fact in 3rd grade, they are red and they have a number 3. And if you happen to be in the 4th grade here at this school, they will be purple and will have, in fact, a number 4 on them. And for you guys who are moving on, you're in the 5th grade this year, the last year of this school, they are green and they have the number 5 written on them. So we have this long thing that day where she tells us, it's not long, it's probably 20 minutes, but she brings everybody out the new dodgeballs. Okay, fine, that's done. And so what happens is, normally the 1st grade goes out to PE/recess, I guess. They kind of overlap sometimes, but normally the 1st grade is out with other 1st graders, the 2nd grade is out with other 2nd graders, so on. Well, this one day, it just so happened that it was time for the 1st graders, which was us, the yellow balls, to have recess. And for some reason, something was going on, and I don't know what it was. Something was going on that made the 5th graders have to take recess, not PE, recess at that time. And so what it ended up being was you had 1st graders on one side of the dodgeball court, and you had 5th graders on the other side. And they were lighting us up. So we had the green balls for the 5th graders, we had the yellow balls for the 1st graders, which was us. And 4 balls. And we're throwing them back and forth, and they are pelting us. They are pelting us. And they're making so much fun of us. And finally, some teachers come over and they kind of calm it down a little bit. And then so the 5th graders aren't, just whacking us. Anyway, so we're playing. Everybody gets out, back in. The 5th graders win every game, obviously, because we're in 1st grade. After the teachers leave that time, I'm out there playing, and I've already been whacked a few times. I get the ball, and this is unintentional. I promise this was not intentional. I get the yellow ball, and I go right up to the line where you can't cross, and I say I'm going to kick it. I'm not going to throw it. I'm going to kick it. So I just punt it, drop kick. It doesn't hit the ground, but I kick it, and I hit that ball very squarely. Knock the heck out of the ball, and there is this guy that's about 2 feet on the other side of the line just doing all this stuff. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And it hits him right under the chin. This ball that I kick the ball, it hits him right under the chin, and he flies backwards and hits the ground, hits his head on the concrete and all this. Now, remember, this is the school, if you watch the other video, that allows us to play tackle football in the 3rd grade. And I mean, we're at recess. Apparently, it's like MMA, like basically no rules as far as what you do. And that, still looking back on this, I can't comprehend this, because the next year, in 4th grade, I went to another school, and they were like, no, you can't. At this school, at recess, tackle football, dodgeball, whatever. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I kicked the ball. It hit this dude in the face. He flies backwards, and I'm out, right? And I play by the rules. I told you, I was always by the rules, do what the teacher says, exactly right, always go by the rules. And so the ball hit him in the face, and if you play dodgeball in elementary school, or at least back then, you hit somebody in the head, then you're out. They're not out, you're out. And so I kicked the ball, I hit him in the face. Now, granted, he's laying on the ground over there, but in my mind, okay, I hit him in the face, hit him in the head, so he is not out, I'm out. And so I go sit on the sideline. So I'm sitting there on the sideline, I'm out. And what did the 5th graders do? Instead of continuing the game, they all start throwing the balls at me, all 4 of them. Every time they get a ball, they whack me with it. And I'm sitting over there like this, just sitting with my knees up and my hands on my knees, and they start whacking me and whacking me and whacking me with the ball. And I start crying, because I'm in 1st grade, and all these 5th graders are whacking me, despite me saying I didn't mean to when I kicked the ball and it hit the guy in the face. They're still whacking me and whacking me and whacking me. And finally, after about 12 minutes of this, 12, that's probably too specific. After 10 to 15 minutes of this, the teachers finally come over, and they see me being pelted over and over and over again by dodgeballs. And not those squishy kind from today, those old school dodgeballs that are essentially kickballs. They see me being pelted with these dodgeballs, and I'm crying. I'm not loud, I'm just sitting there crying because everybody's pelting me. And they come up to me and they say, what happened? I say, well, I hit the guy in the face, and I got out, because I know that if you hit somebody in the face, then you're out. And so I went over here and sat, and they kept pelting me. And they looked at the other, no, he kicked it. And then they looked at me, and they said, did you kick it? And I said, yeah, I did. I didn't mean to kick it in his face. I did kick the ball, and it did go into his face. But I got out like I'm supposed to. I followed the rule, and I'm over here. So yes, I did kick the ball into his face, but it was an accident. And then they turned around, the teachers, both of them, turned around and just went off on the 5th graders, because they had seen, they were running across, finally for one time, I guess teachers were paying attention. They were running across the yard, the schoolyard there, when they saw me just getting pelted and pelted and pelted by 5th graders while I'm sitting there just not moving. And they said, okay, well, since you all did that, you all cannot have recess for the entire week, and you cannot play dodgeball, which we all wanted dodgeball at PE. You cannot play dodgeball for 2 weeks. So that's what ended up happening. Now, why did I tell that story? I don't know, but it is something that I remember very, very clearly, and I can see myself there like this with those balls hitting me now, and that's, what, 30-something years later? Anyway, so that's the story.